This is our first lesson on the solar system. We're going to look at the sun. So here are the contents. This is everything that we're going to cover today. Okay, introduction, some facts. This is what the sun actually looks like in space. And the sun is about 4.603 billion years old. So that's how old it is. It's very old. This picture was taken with one of our cameras and satellites from outer space. Some facts. Number 2. The distance across the sun is about 1.392 million kilometers. You can line up 109 Earths across the sun. The distance around the sun is 4,366,813 kilometers. The distance around a sphere is called the circumference. That means you can put about 340 Earths around the sun. And also, did you know that you can fit over 1 million Earths inside the sun? And the distance across the sun is called a diameter. That's what we call the distance across a circle. How big is our sun? Well, the diameter is 1.392 million. The circumference is about 4.3 million kilometers. But is our sun the biggest star? Not even close. The largest known star is called Ui Scuti or Scuti. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. This star is about 1,700 times bigger than our sun. You can't even see the sun in this photo. So that's how big that star is, and our sun is barely visible. What is the sun made out of? Well, it's made out of mostly hydrogen and helium. There are the numbers right there. How does the sun get its energy? Well, I'm going to try and explain this to you in a way that's really easy to understand. Basically, the sun is so big it creates something called nuclear fusion. Inside the sun, there are tiny things called atoms. The sun is so strong that it smashes these atoms together, causing them to fuse or join. When that happens, the atoms release heat and energy. This pretty much happens on the sun all the time. So this cannot happen on Earth because the Earth is not strong enough to do this. Nuclear fusion is not possible on all objects. The smaller stars don't do this as effectively. And bigger stars do this more effectively, in case you're wondering. How hot is the sun? The sun's inner core can reach up to 15 million degrees Celsius. The temperature in the photosphere is about 5,500 degrees Celsius. The temperature in the chromosphere is about 4,320 degrees Celsius. So it is weird as you're getting closer to the surface. It's actually getting cooler. But then when you look at the sun's corona, the last layer, it's about 2 million degrees Celsius. So it is a little strange why that happens. But we will talk about this as we go along. Some facts, part 3. Did you know it takes more than 1 million years for light to escape the sun? Basically, the sun is so big and there's so much fusion happening that it takes light a long time to leave. Picture it like a crowded hallway at school, at least before COVID. It takes you longer to walk down the hall when it is crowded. The light shining down right now outside is over 1 million years old. It takes 8 minutes for the light to travel from the sun to the earth. So if the sun disappears right now, we would not know for 8 minutes. Solar flares, corona. The sun is so big. It has many different magnetic fields. See, on Earth we only have one. When the magnetic fields get tangled, they create these massive loops. So like this picture is showing you. When those loops break, they release radiation. This radiation is deadly. Luckily for us, the Earth has its own magnetic field that protects us from this radiation. This is called a solar flare. Solar flares happen every 11 years on the sun. The next time the sun will be very active is in 2023. Solar flares are also called coronal mass ejections, or CMEs. The life of our star. Our sun is about 4.603 billion years old. Sadly, our sun will not live forever. Our sun is about halfway through its life right now. Our sun will go into supernova in about 5 billion years. What is a supernova? A supernova happens when the star, or when a star runs out of fuel. When this happens, the star begins to eat itself. Our star will start to eat itself in about 3 billion years. When this happens, our star will expand. It will grow so big that it will swallow Mercury, Venus, and maybe even Earth. Since our star is pretty small, when it explodes, all that will remain is a small bright star the size of the Earth called a white dwarf. Supernova number 2. Our sun will not go out with a giant explosion. Our sun will not turn into a black hole because it is too small. But bigger stars do explode. Bigger stars can turn into a black hole. But don't worry, Earth is in a relatively safe zone in the galaxy, so we will not be impacted by other stars yet. So here are some pictures of supernova. When a star goes supernova, the leftovers are called a nebula. So all these here are just stars that have exploded, and some of them, each of these actually have a unique name. So one of them's called the Pillars of Creation, one of them's called the Cat's Eye Nebula, one's called the Horsehead Nebula. So there's a lot of different names. I'm sure if you do a quick Google search, you will find many, many amazing looking nebulas out there. Some facts, number 4. Did you know that once a star goes into supernova, it will create another star and solar system? Our star was created when another star went into supernova. That's right, this is the second star in our area. The bigger the star, the shorter it lives, but the bigger the explosion. The smaller the star, the longer it will live, but it won't turn into a nebula. Sun and gravity. Our sun's gravity reaches very far. It controls all the planets in our solar system and beyond. Our sun's gravity reaches far out into space. It stops here, right where that arrow is pointing. The edge of our solar system is called the Oort cloud. Trust me, it's really far away. Basically, the Oort cloud is a giant cloud of ice and rocks that is bound by the sun's gravity. It's really, really far away. Who named the sun? The ancient Greeks thought the sun was a handsome god that they named Helios. A lot of ancient Greek religion was based on the sun. The Romans called the sun Sol. The ancient Egyptians referred to the sun as Ra. The word sun comes from England, Germany, Netherlands, and other European countries. Basically, they all had a similar sounding word to sun, spelled very similar too. So basically, a lot of these old religions, all these old empires, they used the sun was part of their religion, much like what we learn about the natives too. Space visits. In 2019, the NASA Parker Solar Probe completed a second close approach of the sun. It will complete 7 in total. This is called perihelion. Perihelion is when you get your closest approach to the sun. It is traveling at about 343,000 kilometers per hour. It is collecting information about the sun to help give us clues about the creation of our solar system. And when we send these probes out to places, we actually learn more things that we were not expecting. So that's pretty cool. Some facts, number 5. The mass of our sun takes up 99.86% of the total mass of the solar system. When our sun begins to expand, it will become a red giant. It takes our sun 225 to 250 million years to complete an orbit around the Milky Way galaxy. The sun rotates the opposite way of the Earth. The solar flares from the sun can cause severe damage on Earth. And here are the credits. This is where I got my information. So thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next video where we talk about Mercury and Venus. Bye.